Chapter 1991. The mountain was extremely majestic, and there were many majestic palaces built on it. There was no such mountain here in the past. Some time ago, the almighties of the various factions had forcefully uprooted it from the ground. It was 100,000 feet tall, and had a radius of 10,000 miles. Every faction had built a huge and majestic palace on it. The various factions had sent a large number of experts to stay there. This way, the strength of the various factions could quickly gather and effectively deal with the attacks of the foreign tribes. They could also effectively counterattack. After all, the ancient moon sacred ground was very big. There were at least 20 powerful factions scattered all over the place. If they wanted to gather the strength of the various factions at the last minute, it would be too difficult and would take time. If that happened, they would probably be attacked by the foreign tribes one by one. With a common base, the experts of the various factions could gather and mobilize them. It would be much more effective. Huang Ling and the others led Lu Ming and the others around in a big circle. Phoenix Palace, Divine Elephant Sect, and the others cultivated there. There was a huge palace. At the peak of the mountain, there was a huge and majestic palace. That was the place where merit points could be exchanged for resources. It was built by the various factions together. Currently, the strongest faction in the ancient moon sacred ground is one of the ancient clans, the Wind Clan. The Wind Clan is temporarily in charge, and the other factions are assisting. Huang Ling explained. Lu Ming nodded. Let's go and hunt the foreign tribes. A cold glint flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. Then, the group flew out of the ancient moon sacred ground. Soon, they flew out of the ancient moon sacred ground and into the wilderness. Whoosh, whoosh. High in the sky, a figure flashed by at an astonishing speed. It was an emperor-level expert. The emperor-level experts of the ancient moon sacred ground would naturally deal with the emperor-level experts of the foreign tribes. The ones they hunted were those below the emperor level. Boom, boom, boom. After flying for a while, they heard a loud explosion in front of them. Kill! Kill! Intense battle cries came like a tide. In front, large groups of foreign tribes rode on strange beasts and stepped on the void, fighting with the human martial artists. It was extremely tragic. At a glance, there were countless figures. In the sky, there was a terrifying burst of light, and a terrifying pressure came down like a mountain. In the sky was the battlefield of the emperor-level experts. Rumble! As soon as Lu Ming and the others arrived, they were immediately targeted by the outsiders. The main reason was that Lu Ming and the others were too young. They attracted too much attention. The armored horses stepped into the air and charged towards them. The one leading them was a quasi-emperor expert. Leave the quasi-emperor to me. You guys be careful. Lu Ming warned and flew forward, a long spear appearing in his hand. That spear had been obtained from Luo Pokong. It was an imperial armament. Whoosh! The spear pierced through the air, instantly traversing the void, breaking through the destructive light shot out from the third eye, and piercing through the opponent's head. A quasi-emperor was instantly killed. With Lu Ming's current battle prowess, he could instantly kill ordinary quasi-emperors. As for Huang Ling, Long Chun, Xiang Xiang and the others, they were also fighting with the others. Lu Ming waved his hand, and the spear trembled. The third eye of the outsiders flew out, and was put into Lu Ming's storage ring. The third eye of the outsiders could be considered a miraculous refining material. Furthermore, the third eye of the outsiders could be used to exchange for contribution points. With the death of the quasi-emperor leader, this group of outsiders was no match for Lu Ming and the others. They were instantly killed. Kill them. In the distance, even more outsiders charged towards Lu Ming and the others. Their iron hooves stomped on the air, looking very mighty. There were at least several hundred outsiders. Furthermore, there were 7 or 8 quasi-emperors. With so many experts charging at Lu Ming and the others, beams of destructive light shot towards Lu Ming and the others before they arrived. These beams of destructive light were not only aimed at Lu Ming, but also at Desolate Force, Xiang Xiang, and the others. Spatial barrier. Chirp, chirp. Bubbles stepped into the void and pressed down with her small hand. The surrounding void rippled like water, forming a barrier. When the beams of destructive light hit the spatial barrier, they were like stones sinking into the sea. It was unknown where they went. Kill! Lu Ming took the lead and charged forward. His emperor-level spear trembled, and beams of spear light enveloped 5 or 6 quasi-emperors. The weapons used by the three-eyed divine race were similar to the desolate race. They were all heavy weapons. They were either battle axes or hammers. They swung them and attacked Lu Ming, blocking Lu Ming's spear light. However, in the next moment, transparent bubbles suddenly appeared on their bodies, enveloping them. Following that, Lu Ming stabbed out with his spear, killing quasi-emperors one after another. With Lu Ming and Bubbles working together, ordinary quasi-emperors could only die in the blink of an eye, for quasi-emperors were killed by the two of them. Courting death, a particularly burly quasi-emperor broke through the bubble's shackles. His third eye shot out a beam of light that instantly rushed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spear trembled and swept towards the beam of light. Boom! The spear trembled, and Lu Ming could not help but feel his arm go numb. Kill! The quasi-emperor wielded his battle axe and charged towards Lu Ming. Not bad. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This three-eyed divine race was much stronger than the other quasi-emperors. He was comparable to the human race's superior heaven astral body quasi-emperors. Leave the quasi-emperors to me and Bubbles. You guys deal with the others. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Xiang Xiang and company. Then, he held his spear and fought with the strongest quasi-emperor. As for Bubbles, she charged towards the other quasi-emperors. Lu Xiangxiang, Huangling Longchun, and the others charged towards the quasi-emperors. Many people had gained something from the trip to the world of the lotus. Longchun and Huangling's cultivation had reached the peak of the absolute saint realm. Huangli's cultivation had also reached the peak of the absolute saint realm. Luo Tianyi had even reached the peak of the absolute saint realm. Luo Xiang's cultivation was comparable to Lu Ming's. He was at the peak of the absolute saint realm. With their combat strength, it was still easy for them to deal with the three-eyed divine race who were not quasi-emperors. They immediately killed a large number of them. Lu Xiangxiang was enveloped in a ball of green mist. With a shout, a huge ancient tree formed. It was like the everlasting azure tree. It stood tall in the sky and suppressed a three-eyed divine race, who was at the peak of the absolute saint realm. Boom! The three-eyed divine race was directly killed by the everlasting azure tree. Not even his bones were left. Xiang Xiang's cultivation was only at the peak of the great saint realm, but she could already kill an absolute saint. The combat strength of the Elysian children was indeed shocking. At the same time, Lu Ming had already exchanged a few blows with the quasi-emperor. I can't use the imperial weapon alone. I'll use the 10,000 weapon incantation to refine the imperial weapon into my acupoints. Lu Ming thought. He put away the imperial weapon and used the chaotic finger of calamity instead. Whoosh! He pointed his finger at the quasi-emperor's battle axe. The quasi-emperor's body shook violently. He couldn't help but retreat. The battle axe in his hand was knocked away. Then, Lu Ming pointed his finger again. This time, the force was highly condensed. It formed a small finger force and shot toward the quasi-emperor. The quasi-emperor seemed to sense danger. A layer of black light covered his body. He punched at Lu Ming with both fists. Chapter 1992. After killing the opponent, Lu Ming rushed over and snatched the opponent's third eye. Then he helped Bubble kill the other boundary emperors. In this way, those below the boundary emperor level were no match for them and were slaughtered in large numbers. Soon, this group of three-eyed divine tribe members was wiped out. Then they killed in other directions. This battlefield was very vast. In the sky, there were figures of martial artists and three-eyed divine tribe members everywhere. There was no end in sight. Lu Ming and the others gathered together, and like a sharp knife, they rushed into the battlefield and killed the three-eyed divine tribe members. With Lu Ming and Bubbles' combat strength, they were almost invincible against those below the martial emperor level. They killed the three-eyed divine tribe members one by one. After a few hours of killing, in the distant sky, there was a violent sound of war drums. Then the three-eyed divine tribe retreated. The ancient Moon Holy Land experts also retreated back to the city. Lu Ming and the others did not immediately go to the base to exchange for merit points. They did not have enough, and wanted to wait until they had accumulated more merit points. Sure enough, on the second day, the three-eyed divine tribe army attacked again. Many ancient Moon Holy Land experts also went out to kill. In the empty wild mountain they continued to fight. This was a war between two different races. It was a life-and-death battle. No one would show mercy. On the ground, there were mountains of corpses and seas of blood. There were human martial artists, demon martial artists, and three-eyed divine tribe members. After fighting for a while, the three-eyed divine tribe members seemed to feel that they could not win and retreated. But on the second day, they would attack again. After more than 10 days of fighting, Lu Ming and the others gained a lot. When the three-eyed divine tribe retreated again, Lu Ming and the others returned to the base. They went to the highest point and prepared to exchange for some treasures. Lu Ming mainly wanted to exchange for sacred medicine and origin stones. You guys take out the three-eyed divine tribe's third eye. A group of old men stood on a huge counter. These people were all experts of the major forces. Those resources were jointly provided by the major forces. Naturally, each force would send experts to supervise. Lu Ming and the others took out their storage rings, and then a large number of three-eyed god races' third eyes appeared. It was piled up like a small hill, causing many people to be stunned. The third eye of the three-eyed divine race was like a gem, sparkling and dazzling. It was very beautiful and contained miraculous power. It could be used to refine weapons and was a good material for refining weapons. So many of them are at the Sage Realm, or even the Boundary Emperor Realm. Terrifying. The son of Chaos Lu Ming. These people's battle prowess is too terrifying. Indeed, I've seen them fight before. They can kill quasi-emperors in an instant. Apart from martial emperors, no one else can do that. Around them, many people were looking at the three-eyed god tribe with burning eyes. Among them, a white-haired old man counted the eyeballs. These eyeballs of the three-eyed divine race could be exchanged for 1,000,000 merit points. How astonishing was that? What treasure do you want to exchange for? The white-haired old man asked. Wait. Right at this moment, a cold voice sounded. Following that, a few figures walked out from the hall. The leader was a young man with an elegant demeanor. Feng Wuchen. Cold killing intent appeared in Lu Ming's eyes. Feng Wuchen also glanced coldly at Lu Ming and the others. Finally, his gaze landed on the three-eyed divine race's eyeballs and revealed a trace of greed. You want to exchange for treasures? Feng Wuchen asked. That's right. Lu Ming replied. I'm afraid that's not possible. You're too late. During this period of time, a large number of treasures have been exchanged. The number of treasures in the treasury has decreased sharply, so we can't exchange for them for the time being. Feng Wuchen sneered. Not enough treasures? Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Ridiculous. We came here and there aren't enough treasures. How can others have enough? Huang Ling sneered. Others have less, but you have more. Naturally, it's not enough. If you're willing to exchange for treasures at a discount, that's fine too. Feng Wuchen sneered. If you say it's not enough, then it's not enough. This place isn't under your control. The other seniors didn't say that it's not enough. Lu Xiangxiang shouted, looking very unhappy with Feng Wuchen. Although many treasures have been exchanged during this period of time, the remaining treasures should be enough, right? An expert from Phoenix Palace said. That's not right. If the remaining treasures are all exchanged by them, then there won't be anyone else here. Won't that disappoint everyone and damage their morale? An elder from the Wind tribe said. The expression of the person from Phoenix Palace darkened, but he didn't say anything. This time, the ancient moon sacred ground was led by the Wind tribe. The Wind tribe was undoubtedly the strongest. During this period of time, the other factions will continue to replenish their treasures. When they're done, you can come again. Feng Wuchen smiled faintly. How long will it take for the next replenishment? Huang Ling asked. A few months. Feng Wuchen said. Then we'll come again next time. Lu Ming said. He couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Feng Wuchen. With a wave of his hand, he put away the eyeball of the three-eyed divine race. Why don't you keep the eyeball of the three-eyed divine race? We'll record it in our account and won't shortchange you. Feng Wuchen said. No need. I can't trust a despicable person like you, Lu Ming said and turned to leave. The others smiled mockingly and also turned to leave. Damn it. Feng Wuchen's expression darkened. His eyes darted around as if he was thinking of a scheme. In my opinion, that Feng guy is deliberately targeting us. He's deliberately not exchanging for us. I really want to beat him up, Huang Li said unhappily. With so many factions present, they can't deny it. At most, we'll exchange for it later, Lu Ming said. Those resources and treasures were gathered by the various factions and didn't belong to the Wen tribe alone. They couldn't deny it. They just had to wait for a while. In the next few days, they continued to fight with the three-eyed divine race every day to train themselves. Ever since Xiangxiang Bela started cultivating, she had rarely fought with her enemies. This was a very good tempering for her. During this period, Xiangxiang's combat experience increased rapidly. Even her cultivation showed signs of loosening, nearing the Great Sage realm. This made the others sigh. The cultivation speed of the Elysian children was truly astonishing. On this day, they set off again and stepped onto the battlefield. Lu Ming, I want to separate from you guys and train alone, Huang Ling said. I have the same intention, Long Chen also said. Then Luo Tianyi and Huang Li also expressed their intentions. Although it was safer for everyone to gather together, it wouldn't have a good training effect. There wouldn't be the feeling of a life and death crisis. Only by facing danger alone could one stimulate one's potential and reach a higher level. If you want to cultivate the light of the laws, you have to train in life and death situations. Otherwise, it'll be very difficult to cultivate it, Luo Tianyi said. The eyes of the others also lit up with a blazing light. They were all geniuses and all had ambitions. They all wanted to become stronger. Only by cultivating the light of the laws could they suppress other Elysian children. Chapter 1993. All right, but it's best if there are two of you or more. That way we can take care of each other, Lu Ming said. Everyone nodded. Then, Luo Tianyi and Huang Li led the other geniuses and charged into the distance. Long Chen, Huang Ling, and Luo Xiang formed a group and ran into the distance. Bubbles, you provide support. If any of them are in danger, help them immediately, Lu Ming said to Bubbles. All right, brother Lu Ming. Chirp chirp. Bubble nodded, and her petite body flashed, disappearing without a trace. As for Lu Ming, he led Lu Xiangxiang and charged in one direction. Bam! Not long after, Lu Ming killed a three-eyed divine tribe boundary emperor with one punch. He also took the three-eyed divine tribe boundary emperor's third eye and a black bracelet. This bracelet was used by the three-eyed divine tribe boundary emperor to store items. It was similar to a storage ring. Xiang, I'll leave these two to you. Lu Ming left the two three-eyed divine tribe boundary emperors to Xiang in a flash. He took care of the rest. The battlefield was the best place to train. He thought that when Ouyang Moli's cultivation level was higher, he would take him out to train as well. Xiang fought the two three-eyed divine tribe boundary emperors alone. The battle was intense. Not long after, Xiang successfully killed the two three-eyed divine tribe boundary emperors. Lu Ming nodded in satisfaction. Then, he gave Xiang a three-eyed divine tribe member, who was at the great mastery of the supreme sage realm. The three-eyed divine tribe boundary emperor immediately gave Xiang fatal pressure. Xiang was in danger. Puff! Xiang Bear's shoulder was hit by the opponent's light of destruction, and a hole appeared. However, Lu Ming had no intention of helping. He had experienced too many life and death battles in his life. He knew very well that if one didn't experience life and death battles, it would be useless no matter how talented they were. Master! Xiang cried out, her face pale. Solve it yourself. As the son of life, do you want to always rely on others? Lu Ming said with a cold expression. With a punch, he killed a perfected absolute saint who was charging toward him. Xiang clenched her teeth. Her body began to emit a green light. She revolved the life laws and her wounds instantly healed. The life body and life law contained boundless vitality. It was many times stronger than Huang Ling's undying flame law. At the same time, Countless vines appeared and swept towards the other party like long whips. But there was no doubt that Xiang Xiang was at a disadvantage. Although her talent was strong, it was a pity that she didn't have much combat experience, so she couldn't use her full strength. However, the more she fought, the more Xiang Xiang seemed to have found the ability to protect herself. Yes, Lu Ming nodded, and then hunted alone in the surrounding area. Xiang Xiang had been fighting with her opponent for hundreds of moves. She had been injured many times, but with the help of the law of life, she had quickly recovered. What monster! The three-eyed godly being grew more and more frightened. His opponent couldn't be killed at all, but his injuries were getting worse and worse. After a few hundred moves, Fragrant Fragrance finally exhausted her opponent to the brink of death and killed her opponent. Xiang Xiang was also badly injured, but with the help of the law of life, she was recovering quickly. Master, I did it! Xiang Xiang came to Lu Ming's side. Her eyes were much sharper than before. Yes, not bad. Continue. Lu Ming continued to pass a three-eyed divine tribe member, who was at the great perfection of the absolute saint realm, to Xiang Xiang. Xiang Xiang was indeed very talented. She improved at a shocking speed in the battle of life and death. Her combat strength, the use of the law of strength, and her battle awareness and mentality were all undergoing huge changes. This time, Xiang Xiang finished off her opponent within 100 moves. Although she was badly injured, she wasn't afraid of being injured. Lu Ming nodded. He continued to kill the three-eyed godly being with Xiang Xiang. Huangling, Long Chen, and Huangli were all going through difficult battles. Their opponents were naturally at the level of a quasi-emperor. Huangling, Long Chen, and Huangli were all at the peak of the absolute saint realm. They could barely fight against a quasi-emperor, but it would be very difficult. Luo Tianyi's cultivation was higher, so she was better off, but she was also in a difficult battle. Everyone was in a battle of life and death, hoping to break through their limits and achieve a breakthrough. Whoosh! Suddenly, a destructive light pierced toward Lu Ming. This beam of destructive light cut through the void silently. However, Lu Ming had goosebumps all over his body. He could sense a fatal threat. Without hesitation, Lu Ming pointed in that direction. The power of the chaotic calamity finger gathered in his finger and clashed with the destructive light. Boom! Lu Ming felt a terrifying power surge toward him. He couldn't help but take a few steps back. His fingers felt numb. What a strong power! Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and looked forward. In front of him, a 5-meter-tall three-eyed godly being rode a strange beast. He stepped on the air and emitted a terrifying aura. This three-eyed godly being wasn't at the martial emperor realm, but he was definitely powerful. Kid, I've been watching you for a few days. During this time, you've killed many of our people. Today is the day you die. Kill! The burly three-eyed godly being shouted. He waved the battle axe in his hand. The strange beast roared and stepped on the void, charging toward Lu Ming. Roar! That mutated beast roared, spewing out a jet of black light from its mouth, charging toward Lu Ming. At the same time, the three-eyed godly being's battle axe slashed toward Lu Ming. The giant axe seemed to be able to split the sky. Its power was terrifying. Saint weapons floated out of Lu Ming's body. There weren't many, only 37. Back then, when Xiao Chun fought the quasi-emperor in the world of the lotus flower, most of the saint weapons sealed in his acupoints were destroyed. Only 10 odd absolute holy weapons remained. During this time, Lu Ming cultivated the 10,000 weapon art again. This time, he did not seal the bright saint weapons or great sage weapons. Instead, he sealed all the absolute holy weapons. He sealed a total of 36 absolute holy weapons. One of them was an emperor weapon. It was the emperor weapon spear that Xiao Chun obtained from Luo Pokong. Although there were fewer of them than before, their might was several times stronger. Lu Ming held onto the long spear, while the other 36 absolute sacred weapons hovered around him. The aura of the combat weapons merged and blocked the attack of the mutated beast. At the same time, Xiao Chun thrust his spear upward and clashed with the other party's battle axe. Dang! Horrifying vibrations erupted. The other party roared and retreated 10 odd steps with the strange beast under him. As for Lu Ming, he also retreated. What strong combat prowess! It is equivalent to a quasi-emperor's sovereign body. This thought flashed in Lu Ming's mind, and a strong fighting spirit flickered in his eyes. This was the strongest quasi-emperor that Lu Ming had encountered so far. Previously, the quasi-emperors that Lu Ming encountered did not put any pressure on him. However, this quasi-emperor was different. It had the strength to threaten Lu Ming's life. Chapter 1994. Kill! Kill! Lu Ming and the three-eyed divine being roared as they fought. Lu Ming used the 10,000 weapon art to gather the aura of the weapons on the spear, making the spear's power extremely shocking. The spear light whistled and pierced the sky as it fought with the three-eyed divine being. The three-eyed divine being's battle axe fell like a storm. At the same time, his third eye would shoot out a destructive light from time to time. Its power was extremely shocking. The mutated beast would also attack Lu Ming. The spear vibrated and immediately, hundreds of spear light pierced toward the three-eyed divine being. At the same time, he pointed with his left hand. Chaotic calamity finger. Swoosh. A terrifying finger force condensed into the shape of a thread and pierced through the air. This finger was not pointed at the three-eyed divine being, but at the mutated beast under him. Poof! That mutated beast's combat strength was equivalent to an ordinary boundary emperor. It could not resist at all, and its forehead was pierced. It died on the spot, and its corpse fell to the ground. Damn it! The three-eyed divine being roared and his murderous intent became even colder. He attacked Lu Ming like a storm. Lu Ming held the spear in his right hand, and dense runes appeared on it. Soon, the runes covered the spear, and then the spear pierced out, forming a true dragon that whistled out. Lu Ming was using the spear to display the illusory spirit scroll of the 9 scrolls of Array Path. However, the true dragon was scattered by the opponent's battle axe. This was within Lu Ming's expectations. The spear vibrated again, and a destructive force erupted. This was the destruction scroll of the 9 scrolls of Array Path. Lu Ming was using the opponent to hone his 9 scrolls of Array Path, so that he could merge the sealing scroll, destruction scroll, and illusory spirit scroll as soon as possible. To be honest, a boundary emperor's monarch body was very powerful, and required Lu Ming to go all out. Using the 9 scrolls of Array Path alone, Lu Ming was undoubtedly at a disadvantage, and was suppressed by the opponent. However, this was exactly what Lu Ming needed. In the face of adversity, his 9 scrolls of Array Path progressed at lightning speed. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of moves had been exchanged. Yes, that's the feeling. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up as he thrust out his spear. Roar! A true dragon flew out and pounced on the other party. This move again. Break for me. The three-eyed god race roared and swung his giant axe down, splitting the true dragon in half. However, the true dragon immediately exploded, turning into countless runes that covered the axe. Following the axe, it spread to the other party's body, forming a powerful sealing power. That's right. Lu Ming had successfully merged the illusory spirit scroll and the sealing scroll together. This move contained 2 of the 9 scrolls of the formation Tao. Damn it! The three-eyed divine race member roared and erupted with all of his strength. Black light erupted from his entire body. Those symbols dimmed and collapsed one after another. Again, Lu Ming thrust out his spear again. Once again, a true dragon flew out and collided with the opponent's battle axe. This time, an astonishing rumble was heard, and the opponent's battle axe vibrated. This move was a combination of the illusory spirit codex and the destruction codex, and its prowess was enhanced significantly, allowing him to successfully fend off the other party's attack. If I combine the 3 scrolls, it will be even more powerful, Lu Ming thought. At the same time, he kept thrusting out with his spear, but in the end he still failed. Combining 3 scrolls was much more difficult than combining 2 scrolls. If I can combine the Destruction Codex and the Primal Chaos Calamity Finger, wouldn't the power of the Primal Chaos Calamity Finger increase exponentially? Lu Ming suddenly had a flash of inspiration, and his eyes lit up. The power of the Primal Chaos Calamity Finger was already very strong, but if it was combined with the Destruction Codex, it would definitely be even stronger. However, this involved the fusion of 2 types of laws, which was even more mysterious. Lu Ming tried a few more times, but he did not succeed. However, this was a direction. As long as Lu Ming kept trying, he would eventually succeed. Now let's finish you off. Killing intent flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He kept thrusting out with his spear, using the fusion of the illusory spirit codex and the sealing scroll. At the same time, he used the primal chaos calamity finger with his left hand, attacking from both sides. Boom, boom, boom. The two exchanged several dozen moves before Lu Ming finally gained the upper hand. The other party's body was covered in a dense layer of talisman scripts, affecting his strength. Pooh! Lu Ming pointed, and the primal chaos calamity finger pierced through the other party's body. Half of the other party's body exploded. The other party roared and turned to flee. Lu Ming gave chase. However, the other party was indeed very strong, comparable to Lu Ming. Despite suffering injuries, the other party quickly fled far away. Lu Ming could only give up on the chase. A quasi-emperor level sovereign body was indeed very strong. Lu Ming could only defeat the other party after bringing out his full power and using two types of laws. However, he still could not kill the other party. Lu Ming turned around and continued hunting the three-eyed divine race with Xiang Xiang. On the other side, Huang Ling, Long Chen, and Luo Xiang were engaged in a life-and-death battle with two quasi-emperors. Given the three's combat prowess, fighting two quasi-emperors was very difficult. This was a true life-and-death battle, with their lives in danger at any moment. Huang Ling used her undying flame laws to execute the undying cage. While attacking, she also defended. As for Long Chen, his body swelled up like a giant. Every time he attacked, an elephant's trumpeting sounded. The divine image stepped on the air and attacked the other party. As for Luo Xiang, he was moving around. He held a rusty iron sword in his hand, but it was incomparably sharp. His movements were sometimes fast and sometimes slow, and the speed of his sword was sometimes fast and sometimes slow, making it hard for people to guard against. Even so, under the terrifying attacks of the quasi-emperor, they were still in a perilous situation, facing fatal danger. Die for me! A quasi-emperor suddenly launched himself at Luo Xiang. A terrifying force sealed the space around Luo Xiang, making it difficult for him to move quickly. Then a berserk attack charged at Luo Xiang. Of the three, Luo Xiang's cultivation was the lowest. The quasi-emperor wanted to kill Luo Xiang first, before moving on to the others. Oh no! Huang Ling and Long Chen's expressions changed drastically. They wanted to help but were blocked by the other quasi-emperor. They could not rush over immediately. Die! That quasi-emperor had a ferocious look in his eyes as he attacked Luo Xiang. In the face of a life-and-death crisis, Luo Xiang was very calm. His eyes narrowed slightly, flickering with a terrifying sharpness. In his sea of consciousness, his sword soul vibrated, and the iron sword in his hand buzzed. At this moment he circulated all his strength. Whoosh! A sword light burst out, illuminating the sky. It was extremely stunning. Puff! The attack of that three-eyed divine being was forcefully broken. These brats must die. The three-eyed divine being roared in his heart. These youths were too strong. In the future, when they grew up, they would be a great enemy of their race. He charged at Luo Xiang again. Clang! The iron sword in Luo Xiang's hand vibrated and emitted a resplendent light. At this moment, a powerful aura erupted from his body. He broke through. At the critical moment, Luo Xiang broke through. Chapter 1995. He broke through. Great! Long Chen and Huang Ling were overjoyed. Luo Xiang's battle power increased greatly after his breakthrough. He broke through the enemy's attack and fought with Huang Ling and Long Chen. Luo Xiang's breakthrough increased their battle power. They were finally able to fight with the enemy. No one noticed that a cold gaze swept over Lu Ming and the others from time to time. It was Feng Wuchen. These people will be a huge threat to the Feng tribe sooner or later. We have to get rid of them as soon as possible. Feng Wuchen's eyes flashed with a fierce light. He then transmitted his voice to his subordinates. Then they attacked some of the three-eyed divine beings. After a few moves, they suddenly changed direction and charged toward Huang Ling, Long Chen and Luo Xiang. The three-eyed divine beings chased after them. Soon, they were close to Huang Ling, Long Chen and Luo Xiang's battlefield. Oh no! Huang Ling and the others' expressions changed. Feng Wuchen wanted to kill them with a borrowed knife. He wanted to lure the three-eyed divine beings to them, so that they could kill them. You guys came at the right time. These guys are the top prodigies of the human race. They will be a huge threat in the future. We have to get rid of them first. One of the three-eyed divine beings who was fighting with Huang Ling and the others shouted. He wanted the other three-eyed divine beings to kill Huang Ling and the others. Okay, let's kill these people first. The three-eyed divine beings who were chasing Feng Wuchen and the others immediately gave up on them and charged toward Huang Ling and the others. Among Feng Wuchen and the others, only Feng Wuchen was a top prodigy. The others were all old and had limited potential. Compared to killing Feng Wuchen and the others, the three-eyed divine beings were more willing to kill Huang Ling, Long Chen, and Luo Xiang. At least 3 or 4 boundary emperors and more than 10 absolute saints charged toward Huang Ling and the others. The three's expressions changed drastically. They quickly retreated, but were held back by the 2 boundary emperors from before. Haha! Feng Wuchen was overjoyed. The process was smoother than he thought. He led the Feng tribe's elites and quickly left. On the other side, Lu Ming also noticed this. Oh no! Lu Ming's face turned ugly. With a wave of his hand, a ray of saint power swept up Xiang Xiang and quickly rushed towards Huang Ling and the others. However, he was still quite a distance away from Huang Ling and the others. It would take some time for him to reach them. Huang Ling, Long Chen, and Luo Xiang were besieged by so many quasi-emperors and immediately fell into fatal danger. Puff! Long Chen's body was penetrated by a beam of destructive light. His flesh and blood exploded. The scene was extremely horrifying. Luo Xiang didn't have it easy either. One of his arms was chopped off. Although Huang Ling had the undying flame laws, she blocked even more attacks and suffered heavy injuries. As soon as they exchanged blows, the 3 of them were heavily injured and fell into a crisis. All of you retreat! Long Chen roared, and his long hair fluttered in the wind. His fists punched out continuously, and the silhouettes of divine elephants appeared one after another. They charged toward the other party in the air. He fought against a few boundary emperors alone, so that Huang Ling and Luo Xiang could have a chance to escape. However, he was alone, and his battle prowess was limited in the end. The divine elephant was destroyed, and his body was blasted. Half of his body directly exploded, and he almost died. Die! A three-eyed boundary emperor's eyes flashed with a ferocious glint. He swung his giant axe at Long Chen's head. If this attack landed, Long Chen would definitely die. Just then Long Chen, Huang Ling, and Luo Xiang's bodies flickered like phantoms. In the next moment, they appeared 1,000 meters away. The three-eyed boundary emperor's attack missed. A petite figure appeared beside Huang Ling and the others. It was Bubble's timely intervention that saved them. Kill! The three-eyed boundary emperor charged toward Bubble. You are the ones who will die. Chirp chirp. Bubble pressed her small hand down, and the void fluctuated. More than a dozen absolute saint-level three-eyed boundary emperors' bodies were directly torn into pieces by the power of space. Even the few boundary emperors retreated frantically, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. Space-time laws. No retreat. A three-eyed boundary emperor's expression changed drastically, and he wanted to retreat. However, a few transparent bubbles appeared and enveloped them. Die! A cold voice rang out from the sky. Following that, a spear ray pierced through the top of their heads. A total of 7 boundary emperors were killed in an instant. Lu Ming's figure descended. With a wave of his hand, he kept the three-eyed boundary emperor's corpse. Then, he stepped out and appeared beside Huang Ling and the others. Heal your wounds first, Lu Ming said. Long Chen, Luo Xiang, and Huang Ling were severely injured, especially Long Chen and Luo Xiang. Their bodies were about to explode. However, with the strength of their spiritual bodies, it was not difficult for them to regrow their limbs. The 3 of them sat cross-legged in the air and began to heal their wounds. Lu Ming and Bubble stood guard around them. Any three-eyed boundary emperor that attacked them were mercilessly killed by them. Long Chen and Luo Xiang's bodies began to heal and recover. A few hours later, their external injuries had healed. However, it would take them a few days to recover to their peak condition. Dong dong dong. At this moment, the war drums sounded, and the three-eyed boundary emperor began to retreat. Feng Wuchen. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. Then, he stepped toward the direction of the base. Luo Tianyi, Huang Ling, and the others looked at each other and followed Lu Ming. Soon they returned to the base. Lu Ming did not stop. He went straight up and finally arrived in front of a majestic palace. This palace was the Wen clan's encampment. Lu Ming walked toward the door of the palace. Stop, this is the base of the Feng tribe. Other than the members of the Feng tribe, only those who are invited can enter. Are you invited? In front of the door, two burly men blocked Lu Ming. Get lost, Lu Ming shouted. The two burly men's bodies shook violently. They were sent flying and vomited blood. You, how dare you? One of them pointed at Lu Ming and shouted. Bam! Lu Ming suddenly took a step forward. A terrifying force surged out and bombarded the door of the Feng tribe's palace. Boom! The door exploded into pieces and flew everywhere. The two burly men guarding the door were stunned. Someone dared to smash the door of the Feng tribe's palace. This was a slap to the Feng tribe's face. The commotion here also alarmed the other forces. Figures flew out from the palaces and looked in their direction. It's Lu Ming. He's so bold to smash the door of the Feng tribe. What happened? Why did Lu Ming do this? I heard that Lu Ming and Feng Wuchen have a grudge. There was a lot of discussion. Who is it? You're courting death. Angry roars could be heard from the Feng clan's palace. Many figures dashed out and looked at Lu Ming, and the rest with gazes as cold as knives. Where's Feng Wuchen? Ask him to come out and die, Lu Ming shouted, ignoring the Feng tribe's experts. You're Lu Ming? A Feng tribe expert recognized Lu Ming and narrowed his eyes. Chapter 1996. Feng Wuchen, come out and accept your death, Lu Ming shouted again, his voice shaking the entire base. Lu Ming, how dare you break the gate of my Wen tribe for no reason? No matter what, you have to give us an explanation today. A Wen tribe quasi-emperor shouted coldly. Explanation? Bullshit. Scram. Lu Ming swept his gaze over and directly told the other party to scram, not giving him any face. The people of the other factions all had different expressions, as they were secretly shocked. The Wen tribe was an ancient race that had existed since ancient times. They had a deep foundation and were incomparably powerful. However, Lu Ming did not give them any face and directly told them to scram. Boundlessly arrogant. I'll cripple you. A quasi-emperor roared. His figure turned into a gust of wind as he charged at Lu Ming. With a wave of his hand, countless sharp wind blades flew out and attacked Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming did not even look at the quasi-emperor as he directly punched out. The void trembled as the wind blades were sent flying by Lu Ming's violent fist energy and landed on the quasi-emperor's body. The quasi-emperor of the Wen tribe shrieked miserably as his body flew back and crashed into the wall of the Wen tribe's palace. He lay on the ground half dead. Everyone was secretly shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength was simply terrifying. He had severely injured a quasi-emperor with one punch without even looking. Where's Feng Wuchen? Did he become a coward? Get him out here. Lu Ming stepped forward, and the experts of the Wen tribe involuntarily took a few steps back. Lu Ming, how dare you come to my Wen tribe and break our gate? You even injure my people. What are you trying to do? A cold voice rang out as Feng Wuchen walked out of the Wen tribe's palace. He looked at Lu Ming with an unsightly expression. He had not expected Lu Ming to be so bold as to kill his way into the Wen tribe's base. I'm here to kill you. Lu Ming continued to step forward. He was very direct and could not be bothered to talk nonsense with Feng Wuchen. Back in the Lotus world, Autumn Moon's injury had something to do with Feng Wuchen. At that time, Feng Wuchen and the experts of the Feng clan joined forces with the people of the Daluo Heaven sect to injure Qiu Moon. Now Feng Wuchen had gone from bad to worse. Not only did he deliberately make things difficult for them, but he also lured in the three-eyed divine tribe to kill them. Lu Ming's killing intent towards Feng Wuchen had reached its peak. He could no longer tolerate it. He had to kill Feng Wuchen today. Feng Wuchen's expression changed, and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. He retreated behind the experts of the Wen clan and shouted, Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to be so narrow-minded. When you wanted to exchange for resources and treasures, I told you that I didn't have enough and asked you to come back later. Now you hate me and want to kill me. Now is the time when we are united against the enemy, but you want to kill me and cause internal strife. I really suspect that you have already defected to the foreign tribe. Feng Wuchen directly put a label on Lu Ming. He said that Lu Ming was narrow-minded, and even said that Lu Ming had defected to the foreign tribe. Huang Ling, Lu Xiang, and the others were so angry that their faces turned green. They had seen shameless people, but they had never seen someone so shameless. Nonsense! You clearly hate my master and us. On the battlefield, you deliberately lured the foreign tribe to kill us. You want to kill us with a borrowed knife. Now you are slandering us. Lu Xiang shouted unhappily. Many people's eyes flickered, and they thought to themselves, I see. Those who could cultivate to this level were all smart people. Previously, when Feng Wuchen had put a label on them, no one believed him. Instead, Lu Xiang's words made more people believe him. No wonder Lu Ming's killing intent was so strong, and he directly killed his way to the Feng tribe's base. It turned out that Feng Wuchen wanted to kill them with a borrowed knife. He deliberately lured the foreign tribe to Lu Ming and the others. How despicable! Many people thought, but no one stood out. The Feng tribe was an ancient tribe and was very powerful. Who would dare to offend them? There were also some people who were gloating, such as the Golden Crow tribe and the Wan family. The conflict between Lu Ming and the Feng tribe intensified, and they were even happier that they killed each other. They hoped that the Feng tribe would kill Lu Ming. Little girl, you're talking nonsense. You're full of nonsense. It's your master who told you to slander me, right? You have to have proof before you speak. Feng Wuchen sneered. That's clearly the case. We can all testify. Lu Xiang said. Testify? What a joke. It's more like you all are working together to slander me. Feng Wuchen sneered. You. Lu Xiang was so angry that her face turned red. Bam. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly took another step forward and said, Xiang, why are you talking so much nonsense with this kind of person? Just kill him. Swoosh. Then, Lu Ming suddenly sped up and rushed toward Feng Wuchen. How dare you? Take him down together. The many boundary emperors of the Feng tribe were furious. In an instant, at least 10 boundary emperors attacked Lu Ming. Get lost! Lu Ming shouted. The light of chaos shrouded his body as he used the chaotic calamity finger 10 times in a row. Bam! Bam! A series of collisions sounded. The attacks of the 10 boundary emperors were broken. Their bodies trembled violently as they retreated. There was a bloody hole in their bodies and blood flowed out. Many people gasped in shock. 10 boundary emperors working together were no match for Lu Ming. They were instantly injured by Lu Ming. This kind of combat power was too shocking. Feng Wuchen, you must die today. Lu Ming took another step forward. Feng Wuchen's face turned pale, and he couldn't help but retreat. Enough! At this moment a cold voice sounded. A figure walked out of the Feng tribe's palace, and a vast aura spread out. Emperor's aura. This was a martial emperor. Feng Wuchen was overjoyed. Lu Ming couldn't do anything to a martial emperor. Elder Lu Ming is lawless. Not only did he break the door of the Feng tribe, but he also injured the elites of the Feng tribe. Quickly kill him! Feng Wuchen shouted. Lu Ming looked at the Feng tribe's martial emperor and said calmly, As a martial emperor, I dare you to attack me. His words made the Feng tribe's martial emperor frown. The people of the other forces were also shocked. They thought of Uncle Kong a few years ago. There was an extremely powerful figure behind Lu Ming. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, Uncle Kong probably wouldn't say anything if a boundary emperor attacked. However, if a martial emperor attacked, would Uncle Kong make a trip to the Feng tribe? Lu Ming, don't push your luck. You'll break easily if you're too hard. Leave. I'll forget about what happened today. The Feng tribe's martial emperor said. Many people's eyes flashed. The Feng tribe's martial emperor's words were equivalent to giving in. Feng Wuchen's eyes flashed with unwillingness. Today, he had a good reason to kill Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming clearly didn't appreciate it. You can let this matter rest, but I didn't say so. Feng Wuchen deliberately led the foreign races to kill us. He must die. Lu Ming's voice was cold, and the killing intent on his body intensified, causing the temperature to drop. Lu Ming, you're going overboard. Don't think that you can be lawless with an old man backing you. My Feng tribe doesn't fear you. Chapter 1997. Lu Ming sneered. Fearless? If he was really fearless, he wouldn't have wasted so much time talking to Feng Wuchen. He would have slapped him to death. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long howl and launched an attack. His figure suddenly charged toward Feng Wuchen. Many people sighed. Lu Ming was still the same Lu Ming, the Lu Ming who had stirred up the storm in the ancient moon's sacred ground. He was still so daring to kill the Feng clan's king body Feng Wuchen in front of the Wind clan's martial emperor. How dare you? The Wind clan's martial emperor shouted, and pressed down with one hand. A powerful aura acted on Lu Ming's body. In an instant, the surrounding air seemed to have solidified. Lu Ming felt as if hundreds of mountains were pressing down on him. His body suddenly stopped moving. Bubble, let's attack together. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Bubble. Bubble had been sitting on Lu Ming's shoulder. At this moment her face was red. Space-time light spread out, and her small hand slashed forward like a knife. Zzz. The space fluctuated violently as if it was about to split open. The Wind clan's martial emperor's power on Lu Ming was also torn apart. Break! Lu Ming shouted. The light of primal chaos erupted as he pointed with his finger. The primal chaos energy surged. The power of the primal chaos tribulation finger gathered at one point and merged with Bubble's power. Boom! That space surged, and a tear appeared in the martial emperor's energy. Not good. The Wind clan's martial emperor's face changed. But in the next moment, Lu Ming's figure disappeared. He broke through the martial emperor's power and suddenly appeared in front of Feng Wuchen. He grabbed at Feng Wuchen. Feng Wuchen originally thought that with the martial emperor present, he would be safe. He never expected that Lu Ming could break through the martial emperor's power and suddenly appear in front of him. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Lu Ming grabbed Feng Wuchen's neck. Violent energy surged in and sealed Feng Wuchen's cultivation. Bam! Lu Ming grabbed Feng Wuchen and slammed him onto the ground. The ground rumbled. The floor of the Feng clan's palace was made of hard black gold, but it cracked. Feng Wuchen's entire body was embedded in the black gold. He coughed up large mouthfuls of blood, his body twitched, and his eyes turned white like a dead fish. The people from the other forces were all dumbfounded and shocked. Firstly, they were shocked that Lu Ming was able to break through the barrier of martial emperor's strength. Ordinary cultivators below martial emperor would find it hard to move under the suppression of a martial emperor. Secondly, they were shocked that Lu Ming had really kept his word. He had seriously injured Feng Wuchen in the Wind clan's palace before the Wind clan's martial emperor. It looked like he really wanted to kill Feng Wuchen. Fiend. A true fiend. Lu Xiang and the others felt their blood boil as they watched. I advise you to let Feng Wuchen go. The Wind clan's martial emperor's face was extremely gloomy. A terrifying killing intent was brewing in his heart. Lu Ming was actually able to defeat Feng Wuchen, despite the obstruction of his power. This made him lose all his face. Moreover, Feng Wuchen couldn't die. He had a peerless monarch physique, and his future was unpredictable. He had the potential to become a martial emperor. Although the Wind clan was an ancient clan with a deep foundation and shocking strength, they didn't have a martial emperor. A martial emperor was too important to a force. Let him go and let him take revenge on me? I won't give him a second chance. Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he stepped on Feng Wuchen's face. Feng Wuchen's body twitched again. If you kill him, your friends will also die. Several more voices came from the Wind clan's palace. Each of them exuded a terrifying aura. Martial emperors, they were all martial emperors. One of them had a vast and unfathomable aura. Divine light surrounded him. It was a true emperor. It looked like the Wind clan was no longer calm. Martial emperors had appeared one after another. The one who spoke earlier was a true emperor. His sharp eyes looked at Xiang and the others. A great true emperor wants to use a few juniors to threaten me? How laughable. Lu Ming's expression darkened. Let Feng Wuchen go, or none of you will be able to leave. I know you have an old clan behind you, But that won't scare my Wind clan. The true emperor coldly spoke. His powerful aura enveloped the group. He only needed a thought to kill them all with Xiang Xiang. Master, don't worry about us, just kill that guy. Xiang Xiang shouted. Shut up. The true emperor shouted and raised his hand. A large hand reached for Xiang Xiang. Suddenly, space in front of Xiang Xiang cracked. A cane flew out and destroyed the hand. Next, the staff grew to the size of a towering tree and slammed down on the Wind true emperor. Uncle Kong! Lu Ming's heart stirred. He naturally recognized that this walking stick belonged to Uncle Kong. It's Grandpa Kong! Xiang Xiang cried out. The true emperor's expression changed. He could feel a terrifying pressure coming from the cane. He let out a long roar. World time erupted, blasting out with the power of the world. Endless wind howled, sweeping towards the walking stick. However, the wind was dispersed and the cane struck the true emperor, sending him flying 100 miles away. He turned pale and vomited blood. Everyone was shocked. One move was enough to injure a true emperor. It's that guy from Grand Development Hall. His power is unfathomable. The experts of the other forces in the ancient moon holy ground discussed in shock. The Wan clan and Celestial Wolf Pagoda had ugly expressions. After all, Uncle Kong killed 2 of their true emperors back then. Several years ago, I told the seniors not to interfere with the matters of the younger generation, especially since they're only a bunch of saints. You void emperors and even true emperors want to fight, so don't blame me for bullying the weak. Uncle Kong's voice came from the cane. Senior, it's better to squash enmity than keep it alive. Feng Wuchen has also suffered. Tell Lu Ming to let him go, and the Wind clan won't interfere. What do you think? The true emperor cupped his fist and said, I won't interfere with the matters of the younger generation. Let them decide whether to kill them or not. You emperors shouldn't interfere either. Uncle Kong said, Senior, you're saying that you must interfere. Starting a war with the Wind clan won't do you any good. The true emperor coldly said, I'd like to see how you'll do that to me. Uncle Kong said. The martial emperors from the Wind clan had ugly expressions. It was clear that Uncle Kong was going to interfere. Send a message to the patriarch. The true emperor messaged a void emperor of the Wind clan. The void emperor nodded and secretly sent a message. Lu Ming, do what you want, no need to worry. Uncle Kong's voice came from the cane. The Wind clan's experts were aghast. Stop! Everyone from the Wind clan roared. No! Chapter 1998. Now you're afraid. You should have thought of this when you lured the three-eyed divine race to us. Lu Ming said coldly. His murderous intent towards Feng Wuchen was unparalleled. His sacred power condensed into a spear and pierced Feng Wuchen's head. Pluff! The spear pierced Feng Wuchen's head and nailed him to the ground. Feng Wuchen struggled for a bit before losing all signs of life. Dead. An unparalleled king physique had died just like that. He had been killed by Lu Ming in front of everyone in the Feng clan's palace. In front of countless Feng clan powerhouses. You court death. The true emperor of the Wind clan roared and unleashed his world power towards Lu Ming. Feng Wuchen was the hope of the Wind clan. Now that he was dead, he had to kill Lu Ming. Looks like you want to die. Uncle Kong's voice came from the walking stick. Clang. Next, a sword was unsheathed. Its hymn echoed across the firmament. Everyone only saw a flash of sword light before the true emperor of the Wind clan froze in the air. All signs of life disappeared without a trace. Next, a bloody mark appeared on the forehead of the true emperor of the Wind clan. His body was split in half. Gulp! Many swallowed their saliva, shaken to the core. A true emperor was killed just like that. Just like a few years ago. You've gone too far. At this moment, a furious roar came from the distance. Then, a terrifying whistling sound echoed in the sky. In the distance, an endless gust of wind was blowing towards them, covering the entire ancient moon holy ground, and enveloping the entire place. Many people felt that it was the end of the world. It was as if the world was about to collapse. The gales were like countless divine weapons. Space was cut apart like tofu, revealing ferocious spatial cracks. Amidst the endless wind, there was a tall and majestic figure. It was as if he was standing between the heavens and the earth, as if a demon god had appeared. A terrifying pressure pressed down on everyone, making it hard to breathe. Clan Master. The Clan Master is here, they're dead for sure. The experts of the Wind Clan rejoiced. It's the Wind Clan Master. Peak True Emperor. Some true emperors from the other powers spoke with a serious tone. That's right. Peak True Emperor. Many people gasped. The Wind True Emperor killed earlier was a 1-star True Emperor who had just become a True Emperor not long ago. The Wind Patriarch was a 7-star True Emperor. The difference in strength between the two was unfathomable. It seemed that the Wind Clan was enraged, and the clan leader had personally taken action. That brat Lu Ming is dead for sure. That old man from the Great Pill Development Palace is also dead for sure. Haha. The Golden Crow clan, the Wan family, and the other forces were overjoyed. Lu Ming, Uncle Kong, weren't you arrogant? Now you've kicked an iron plate. Who else but a Grand Emperor could compete with a peak True Emperor? They didn't believe that Uncle Kong was so strong. Today, I'll have you all be buried with dustless. Amidst the endless gales, a cold and emotionless voice rang out as the gales swept towards Uncle Kong and Lu Ming. Clang! The sound of a sword being unsheathed came about again. A sword ray shot out, splitting the sky into 2 halves. It was truly cleaved into 2 halves. The entire sky was cleaved apart, revealing a terrifying dark void. The wind brought by the Wind Clan's leader was like a weak candle flame, disappearing without a trace. Then, everyone heard a miserable shriek as a figure frantically retreated. Drops of blood fell from the sky. In the distance, a middle-aged man wearing a green robe appeared. His face was pale, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. This was the Wind Patriarch. Everyone was shocked. The Wind Clan Master was wounded. This was a peak True Emperor, an overlord of an ancient clan. How could someone like him be wounded by a single slash? His blood splashed across the sky. This was too shocking. More importantly, the other party didn't even appear. He was just controlling a sword from afar. And yet, he was already able to wield such fearsome might. It left one's heart trembling, and it was difficult for one to calm down. A Grand Emperor? Is he a Grand Emperor? Someone spoke with great difficulty, his voice carrying shock and disbelief. Controlling a sword from such a distance, and causing a peak True Emperor to bleed? Who else but a Grand Emperor could do this? A Grand Emperor. The ancient moon sacred ground was hiding a Grand Emperor. The old man from the Grand Development Pill Hall was a Grand Emperor. Everyone shuddered at this thought. A peak True Emperor was only 1 step away from a Grand Emperor. However, this step was the difference between heaven and earth. It was difficult to cross. This was especially true for the Golden Crow tribe, One Clan, Skywolf Pagoda, and other powers that had a grudge against Lu Ming. Their expressions were ugly and filled with worry. Uncle Kong is this strong? Even Lu Ming's group was astonished. Since you've had a hard time cultivating, I'll spare you this time. If there's a next time, I'll kill you. Uncle Kong's voice came from the cane again. It was filled with a murderous aura. The Wind Patriarch's expression was ugly with a hint of fear. He gritted his teeth and cupped his fists. Senior, there's something I must clarify today. Speak. Uncle Kong's voice came again. The Wind Clan can let bygones be bygones. The Wind Patriarch said. These words made many people's hearts tremble. It was obvious that the Wind Clan had taken a step back. In other words, Feng Wuchen's death today was in vain. However, everyone could understand that a Grand Emperor was standing behind Lu Ming. What could they do? Courting death? The other members of the Wind Clan were unwilling and humiliated. However, they could only endure the humiliation. The Wind Clan has only yourselves to blame, and you still want to pursue the matter? Continue. Uncle Kong's indifferent voice sounded. Senior, the Wind Clan can let this matter rest this time. However, if Lu Ming relies on your support and kills the people of the Wind Clan on sight, or even invades the Wind Clan, the Wind Clan will definitely retaliate. If he wants to kill the martial emperors of the Wind Clan with a saber, the martial emperors of the Wind Clan will not stand there and let him kill them. In that case, even if Lu Ming has your support, the Wind Clan will not hesitate to fight. Senior, even if you can kill me, the Wind Clan will scatter and hide. You won't be able to kill all of us. Senior, you can't protect these juniors forever. The clan leader of the Foam clan said, his voice filled with determination. If Lu Ming wantonly killed their people, the Wind clan would not hesitate to fight. Uncle Kong could protect Lu Ming and Xiang Xiang for a while, but could he protect them forever? Unless they did not go out. The clan leader of the Foam clan had no choice. He was really afraid that Lu Ming would kill the people of the Foam clan, without any scruples, just because he had the backing of a great emperor. If that was the case, they would rather fight to the death. Senior, the Golden Crow clan also means the same. We can't allow ourselves to be killed and not fight back. Chapter 1999. The Wan clan has the same intention. The Heavenly Wolf Pagoda. Following this, true emperors from the Wan clan, Heavenly Wolf Pagoda, Violet Extreme Sect and other factions that had a grudge against Lu Ming stepped forward to express their intentions. They would not allow themselves to be killed by Lu Ming. If that was the case, they would rather fight. This old man has already said it in the past, but it seems like you did not understand. Today, this old man will say it again. Lu Ming is now in the Sage Realm. If anyone below the Martial Emperor realm wants to fight him, this old man will not interfere. If you can kill him, it's your own strength. If he achieves the Martial Emperor realm and becomes an illusionary emperor, then all of you can fight him. If he can't defeat you, then it's his own fault. Similarly, if he achieves the true emperor realm, then all of you can fight him. This old man will not interfere. Uncle Kong's voice resounded. The eyes of the people from the Wind clan, Golden Crow clan and other factions flickered. Currently, those below the Martial Emperor realm could not fight Lu Ming. Almost no one was a match for him. However, as long as Lu Ming broke through to the illusionary emperor realm, all of the illusionary emperors would be able to fight him. The Void Emperor was divided into 1 star to 7 stars. The difference between 1 star and 7 stars of battle prowess was like heaven and earth. As long as Lu Ming broke through to the illusionary emperor realm, it would be their chance. Alright, there are so many people here today. I hope Senior will keep his promise. The Wind clan leader said with a cold murderous intent in his eyes. With Lu Ming's talent, it was almost certain that he would achieve the Martial Emperor realm. As long as Lu Ming broke through to the illusionary emperor realm, he would eliminate Lu Ming at all costs. This old man will keep his promise. Get lost. Uncle Kong's voice resounded. Then, with a shake of his walking stick, he disappeared without a trace. The clan leader of the Foam clan cast a cold glance at Lu Ming, before he turned around and left. Let's go, Lu Ming said. Then, he left with Xiang Xiang and the others towards the peak of the mountain. They wanted to exchange their spoils of war for resources. He was clear in his heart that the reason why Uncle Kong set such a rule was to train him. After he broke through to the empty emperor realm, all the empty emperors of the other party would be able to attack him. To him, this was indeed a great pressure, but it had the effect of tempering himself. Of course, if an emperor were to take action, it wouldn't be training, it would be crushing. Such a condition gave the Wind tribe and the Golden Crow tribe hope to kill Lu Ming. The other side naturally agreed. Otherwise, as the other side had said, they wouldn't hesitate to fight to the death. All of this was naturally built on the terrifying combat strength of Uncle Kong. Only a powerful deterrence could make the other party yield. Lu Ming and the others came to the place where they could exchange for treasures and resources. This time no one made things difficult for them. They exchanged the third eye of the three-eyed divine race for all sorts of useful treasures. Lu Ming mainly focused on sacred medicines and origin stones. Within the mountain river diagram in the Phoenix Palace's encampment, Lu Ming continuously threw sacred medicines into the Great Development Cauldron. He controlled the cauldron's fire to refine the sacred medicines. The medicinal energy of the sacred medicines seeped into Autumn Moon's body. Autumn Moon quietly floated within the Great Development Cauldron. Her face was rosy, and she looked normal on the outside. However, she didn't wake up for a long time. Now that the foreign tribes are invading, I don't know where Wuxia Tower is. Autumn Moon, once the foreign tribes are defeated, I will definitely find Wuxia Tower and find a way to save you. Lu Ming whispered. Then, He closed the cauldron's lid and kept the cauldron in his sea of consciousness. Next, Lu Ming took a step forward and arrived at another mountain peak. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu's physical body stood on this mountain peak and continuously absorbed the energy from the outside world. However, the energy stored in the Heavenly Emperor's physical body was less than 1%. The Heavenly Emperor's physical body was like a huge water tank. The energy was like water. It was too difficult to fill this tank with water. After such a long time, Lu Ming had used more than 1,000,000 high-grade origin stones, but it was still less than 1%. God knows how long it would take to reach 100%. However, this was the physical body left behind by the Heavenly Emperor. Even if only 10% of the energy was stored, the power would be shocking if it exploded. At this moment, Lu Ming took out a pile of storage bracelets. They were all storage bracelets that he had obtained from the three-eyed divine tribe. Then, he organized the items in these storage bracelets. Then, a pile of black crystals appeared on the ground. They were piled up like a mountain peak. It was unknown how many there were. These crystals were also a type of energy crystallization. They were very similar to origin stones. However, instead of origin chi, they were a type of strange energy. Martial artists could also absorb and refine them. However, the difficulty of refining them was much higher than origin chi. Lu Ming planned to refine the energy of these crystals into the Heavenly Emperor's physical body. Bam! Bam! Lu Ming waved his hand, and a large number of crystals exploded, turning into billowing energy that was absorbed by the Heavenly Emperor's physical body. In the next few days, Lu Ming did not fight. He focused on refining the crystals for the Heavenly Emperor's physical body. In 3 days, all the crystals were refined. The energy stored in the Heavenly Emperor's physical body finally broke through 1% and reached 1.5%. Lu Ming was delighted. He was getting closer to 10%. Back then, the Heavenly Emperor imprint had told him that he could only control the Heavenly Emperor's physical body when the stored energy was at 10%. Because the Heavenly Emperor's physical body was a stone man, it was now like a puppet. Without enough energy, it could not be activated. As long as the energy stored in the Heavenly Emperor's physical body reached 10%, the Heavenly Emperor's physical body would become Lu Ming's greatest trump card. In the following days, he continued to fight with the three-eyed divine tribe and train on the battlefield. He didn't know if it was because the three-eyed divine tribe divided into 8 groups, but the forces that came to the ancient Moon Holy Land were not strong. After more than half a month, the three-eyed divine tribe was gradually suppressed by the ancient Moon Holy Land, and even retreated. Everyone was overjoyed. It seemed that the three-eyed divine tribe was not that difficult to deal with. At this time, a news spread throughout the land of Yuan Mountain. In the ancient capital of Yuan Mountain, Heavenly Fire Great Emperor, Chaotic Heaven Great Emperor, and Wuxia Great Emperor, the 3 great emperors announced to the world that they had gathered all the powerhouses in the land of Yuan Mountain to prepare for a full-scale counterattack. As soon as the news came out, the land of Yuan Mountain was shaken. Countless powerhouses gathered in the ancient capital of Yuan Mountain. When Lu Ming and the others heard the news, they were also overjoyed. These 3 great emperors were the 3 great emperors who founded the Yuan Mountain Holy Court. After the battle in Celestial City, there was no news of the 3 great emperors. Lu Ming and the others were worried that the 3 great emperors would be in trouble. Now it seemed that they were fine. In the ancient Moon Holy Land, all the major forces sent their experts to the ancient capital of Yuan Mountain to meet with many powerhouses and launch a counterattack. Lu Ming and the others followed the powerhouses of Phoenix Palace and Divine Elephant Sect to the ancient capital of Yuan Mountain to participate in the battle. The ancient capital of Yuan Mountain was located in the north of the land of Yuan Mountain. Not long ago, this place was once the #1 holy land in the land of Yuan Mountain. However, after the emergence of Celestial City, the #1 throne was retired. Chapter 2000. Lu Ming and the others found a place to stay. 3 days later, clang, clang, clang. The majestic sound of the bell resounded throughout the primordial mountain ancient capital. The great emperors had gathered all the experts. In the primordial mountain ancient capital, countless powerhouses gathered towards the place where the bell rang. So many experts. Xiang looked up and looked around. Countless figures whizzed past. Some people's auras were particularly terrifying. Even if they did not deliberately release their auras, the faint emperor's aura could still be clearly felt. Martial emperors. So many martial emperors had formed an army of martial emperors. The number of emperor-level forces that were scattered outside the 9 great sacred lands, gathered together, was astonishing. Of course, the number of paragon saints and boundary emperors was the largest. It was extremely difficult to become an emperor. Since ancient times, countless martial artists have been stuck at the boundary emperor level, unable to break through. Therefore, at a glance, there were boundary emperors everywhere. Not long after, they arrived at an incomparably wide plaza. In the center of the square, there was a large bell that was constantly vibrating. Countless figures had gathered around the square. So many experts gathered together to launch an attack. It's really going to destroy the world. Lu Ming was also secretly shocked. Whoosh, whoosh. Experts continued to arrive, and more people gathered around the square. Look, it's the ancient Sun Sacred Grounds Divine Origin Empire, and the Purple Flame Villa's only sacred palace. Nearby, someone whispered. Lu Ming looked over, and saw people from the 3 major forces of the ancient Sun Sacred Ground. Among the people of the Divine Origin Empire, Ouyang Wushuang also looked at Lu Ming, and nodded with a smile. However, the strongest force of the ancient Sun Sacred Ground, the Daluo Heaven Sect, did not send anyone. It's the people of the Heavenly Profound Sacred Ground, and the Dragon Abyss Sacred Ground. One by one, the powerful forces of the Sacred Grounds arrived. Behind them, several ancient clans arrived. Lu Ming saw the ancient Sacred Clan. Among the ancient Sacred Clan's crowd, Xian Yanjuan's snow-white robe was very eye-catching. The ancient Sacred Clan was a very powerful ancient clan. There were strong and weak ancient clans. Some ancient clans were weaker, such as the Wind Clan. Although the Wind Clan was an ancient clan, they did not have a great emperor. As for the ancient sacred clans, it was said that they were led by great emperors. However, he didn't see a single person from the 2 famous heavenly emperor-level forces in Celestial City, the Hung family and the He family. The Hung family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven Sect, the 3 emperor-level forces, didn't send anyone. What's going on? Many people were disappointed. With the addition of the 3 martial monarch factions, their strength would be a lot stronger. Perhaps the 3 great factions will fight somewhere else. I'm just afraid that they'll hide and not fight. Many people guessed. At this moment, 3 figures suddenly appeared in the sky, and the whole place quieted down. The 3 great emperors had arrived. Lu Ming and the others had seen one of the elders before. It was Emperor Wuxia. As for the other 2, one of them was a burly man in a fiery red robe. He should be the Heavenly Fire Emperor. The other was an old man in a black robe. He was the Chaotic Heaven Great Emperor. With the appearance of the 3 great emperors, the entire place fell silent. I am Wuxia. This old man is Heavenly Fire. I'm Hun Tian. The 3 martial monarchs spoke. Greetings, Great Emperor. Everyone bowed and paid their respects. As long as the heavenly emperors didn't appear, the great emperors were the pinnacle. They deserved everyone's respect. Thank you for coming. Next, we'll fight the enemy together. Emperor Wuxia said. We're willing to live and die together with the great emperor. Many people shouted. Good. But before the battle, let me tell you about the origin of the foreign tribes. I'm afraid that many people here don't know the origin of the foreign tribes. Emperor Wuxia said. Many people shook their heads. During this period, they only knew that the foreign tribes came from another world. They were cruel and violent, and killed anyone they saw. Everyone knows that the world we're in is called the Yuan realm. The world close to the Yuan realm is called the Heaven realm. The 2 worlds are twin worlds, and can communicate with each other. However, the history of cultivation in the Heaven realm far exceeds that of the Yuan realm. Many of the cultivation methods in the Yuan realm were passed down from the Heaven realm. Emperor Formless explained. Everyone listened quietly. Many of them had already known about this secret long ago. As for the foreign tribes, They come from another world called the evil prison realm. The living beings in this world call themselves the god race, but that's just boasting. We call them the evil race or the evil god race. In ancient times, the evil god race opened a void passage and attacked the heaven realm. They waged a fierce war with the heaven realm. The evil god race was ruthless and cruel. Wherever they passed, not even a blade of grass grew. They killed all living beings on sight. Blood flowed like rivers. Even the old, weak, women and children were not spared. At this point, Emperor Wuxia waved his hand, and images appeared in the air. In the images were the scenes of the evil god race's attack. Wherever they passed, countless living beings died tragically. Their corpses formed mountains. It was a tragic sight. Images flashed past. Some of the images were of great battles. Many powerful forces were annihilated under the attack of the evil god race. Lu Ming discovered that apart from the three-eyed god race, there were other races in the evil god race. All of them were incomparably terrifying and unpredictable. In ancient times, the heaven realm was no match for them. Countless powerhouses died in battle, and countless powerful forces were annihilated. At that time, when the war reached its climax, the void was pierced through. Many relics of the heaven realm fell into the primordial realm. The corpses of some powerhouses fell into the primordial realm, forming some forbidden lands now. Of course, there were also powerhouses from the evil god race, who took the opportunity to enter the primordial realm. Later on, the void repaired itself, and it was very difficult for the evil god race to come over. And those evil god race who entered the primordial realm back then secretly formed many terrifying forces, such as the demon spirit sect, evil spirit sect, and others. They specialized in hunting down the primordial realm's geniuses and powerhouses. Last time, it was these existences who opened the void passage and let the evil god race enter Celestial City. After Emperor Wuxia explained, many people finally understood what was going on. So the demon spirit sect, evil spirit sect, and other forces were all created by the evil god race. No wonder. These evil sects should be eradicated as soon as possible. Many people discussed. Evil spirit sect. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. The current Song state was still under the control of the evil spirit sect. However, the void passage opened by the evil god race this time is only a small one. It's not stable. Thearchs or those above the Tharch realm cannot pass through. Once they force their way through, the void passage will collapse. Therefore, those who can pass through are only existences below the Tharch realm. Emperor Wuxia continued. Everyone's eyes lit up. It turned out that the other party's powerhouses above the Tharch realm could not pass through. This was definitely good news. Don't be happy too early. This is just a small battle. In the future, if the evil god race really breaks through the void and opens a stable void passage, or if the remaining powerhouses of the heaven realm are lost, then the evil god race will descend en masse. Therefore, the final battle will come sooner or later. Chapter 2001. Yes, what if the other party launched a large-scale attack in the future? Some people showed a look of despair. Therefore, we must win this battle. If we can't even win this small battle, how can we fight in the future? How can we annihilate the evil god tribe? Emperor Wuxia's voice grew louder and louder as his aura grew stronger and stronger. It was as if he was a ferocious tiger. Many people clenched their fists tightly together. Are you willing to chase after us and win this battle? Annihilate the evil god tribe. Protect your family, protect your loved ones, and protect your friends? Emperor Wuxia's voice became louder and louder, filled with an indomitable aura. Yes, yes. Many people roared, their voices shaking the sky. Especially some of the young people, their blood was boiling. Wasn't it just the evil god tribe? It was just a battle. In order to protect what they wanted to protect. So what if they died in battle? Alright, next, we will be divided into 3 armies, led by the 3 of us. We will form a triangle, and completely annihilate the evil god tribe. Emperor Wuxia announced. After that, all the powerhouses were divided into 3 armies, led by the 3 great emperors. All the forces of the ancient moon sacred ground followed Emperor Wuxia. A day later, The army set off towards the evil god tribe. Of course, the martial emperors on their side dealt with the martial emperors of the other side, and those below the martial emperors dealt with those below the martial emperors. This battle almost annihilated the evil god tribe's army in the north of the Yuan Mountain sacred ground. After that, the evil god tribe mobilized their armies from several other directions, and there was also an army from the celestial city. Both sides engaged in a fierce battle in the north of the Yuan Mountain sacred ground. This battle became a stalemate, and it lasted for half a year. For half a year, Lu Ming and the others were constantly fighting, tempering themselves, and often walking on the edge of life and death. For them, their improvement was very fast. Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm, and he was slowly approaching the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm. His combat strength was even more shocking. Ordinary boundary emperors would be reduced to ashes with a punch. Huang Ling, Long Chun, Huang Li, and the others had also made great progress, and they had all reached the peak of the Absolute Saint Realm. Luo Tianyi had even successfully cultivated the light of law. Huang Ling, Long Chun, and the others had also touched the edge of the light of law, tempering oneself in the midst of life and death. As long as one didn't die, the results one could achieve were astonishing. If they were to cultivate normally, they wouldn't be able to break through without a few years. The one who improved the fastest was Lu Xiangxiang. Not only did she reach the peak of the Great Saint Realm very early on, but she even stimulated her potential in a great battle, and broke through her limit to reach the Absolute Saint Realm. Even Lu Ming was very envious of this speed. However, after entering the Saint Realm, Xiangxiang Beila's cultivation speed had slowed down. In the past half a year, Lu Ming had also brought Ouyang Moli, Xuaningxin, and Tian Shui out to participate in the battle. They had all made great progress. Ouyang Moli had the body of reincarnation, and he also had the world heart of the reincarnation emperor. His cultivation speed was even more terrifying, and it was only a matter of time before he caught up to Xiangxiang. In this half a year, Lu Ming had killed countless experts of the three-eyed divine race, and obtained countless resources. These resources were all turned into energy, and absorbed by the Heavenly Emperor's body. The energy stored in the Heavenly Emperor's body had finally reached 9%, not far from 10%. After half a year of fierce fighting, they had gained the overall upper hand. They took back the land occupied by the evil god race, and began to attack Celestial City. However, the evil god race relied on the city walls to set up heavy defenses in Celestial City. After many battles, although they had killed countless evil god race members, the evil god race could always replenish their numbers. On this day, Lu Ming had just returned to the barracks after fighting for a while, when an old man came to find Lu Ming. Lu Ming knew this old man. He was a teacher of the Origin Mountain Academy. "The three great emperors want to see me?" When the Origin Mountain Academy's teacher explained the purpose of his visit, Lu Ming was a little stunned. Why did the three great emperors want to see him? Lu Ming didn't ask much. He followed the Origin Mountain Academy's teacher, and came to a military tent. In the military tent, the three great emperors were sitting together, seemingly discussing something. "Lu Ming, you're here." Seeing Lu Ming, Great Emperor Wuxia smiled. "Greetings to the three great emperors." Lu Ming bowed, and the teacher from the Yuanshan Sacred Academy left the room. "Lu Ming, I'm looking for you this time, because I have something to ask you for help." Great Emperor Wuxia said with a smile. "Ask me for help." Lu Ming was even more confused. The great emperors were looking for him for help. What was going on? If even the great emperors couldn't handle it, it was useless to look for him. "Lu Ming, you have also seen the battle during this period. Although we have the advantage, and are constantly killing the evil god race, the evil god race has always been able to replenish their numbers. It is because of that void passage. As long as there is that void passage, we can't completely annihilate the evil god race. We can only form a stalemate. The land of Origin Mountain can't be stabilized," Great Emperor Wuxia said. Among the three great emperors, Great Emperor Wuxia was better at talking. Therefore, it was usually Great Emperor Wuxia who spoke. Lu Ming nodded. Indeed, that void passage was the foundation. As long as that void passage was there, they couldn't completely annihilate the evil god race. But what did that have to do with him? With his current cultivation, he couldn't help much at all. If we want to defeat the evil god race, we have to seal that void passage. This will require Lu Ming's help. Great Emperor Wuxia said. Great Emperor, feel free to speak your mind. As long as Lu Ming can help, I will not decline. Lu Ming said. All right, we will bring you to a place. Great Emperor Wuxia nodded. Then, with a wave of his hand, a force enveloped Lu Ming. Following that, the space split open. The three great emperors brought Lu Ming and disappeared from the military tent. The next moment, they arrived in a valley. They didn't know where this valley was. It seemed to be very hidden, and there was a powerful force in the air. After arriving here, Lu Ming felt an inexplicable throbbing. It was as if something was attracting him. The few of them moved forward and came to a concave ground. That is, Lu Ming saw a huge stone plate on the ground in front of him. It was circular and looked very ancient, filled with the aura of time. The stone plate was embedded in the ground. No, it should be said that the stone plate fell from the sky and smashed into the ground. Lu Ming could sense that what attracted him was this stone plate. This stone plate has the aura of the law of primal chaos. Lu Ming couldn't help but say. You've sensed it. That's right. This stone plate does have the aura of the law of primal chaos. We speculate that this stone plate is very likely to be the weapon of one of the strongest in the heaven realm, the primal chaos emperor. It was rare for the heavenly fire emperor to speak. The weapon of the primal chaos emperor. Chapter 2002. The Primal Chaos Emperor. This stone plate could be a weapon used by the Primal Chaos Emperor. The Primal Chaos Emperor could be considered his master. The Primal Chaos scripture came from the Primal Chaos Emperor. No wonder Lu Ming felt that this stone plate was attracting him the moment he arrived. Lu Ming, we speculate that this stone plate has a terrifying sealing power. If we can control it, we can seal the void passageway of the evil god tribe. It's a pity that we have tried various methods but to no avail. Therefore we thought of you. You are the son of primal chaos, and cultivate the law of primal chaos. You might be able to control this stone plate and revive it. Emperor Formless said. Alright, I'll try. Lu Ming nodded and stepped forward to the stone plate. The stone plate was very large, like a small mountain. Lu Ming circulated the law of primal chaos and spread it toward the stone plate. Wang. When the law of primal chaos enveloped the stone plate, it seemed to resonate with the stone plate, causing it to vibrate. Yes, Emperor Formless, Emperor Heavenly Fire, and Emperor Chaotic Heaven's eyes lit up. Continue. Lu Ming continued to control the law of primal chaos, enveloping the stone plate from afar. Wang. The stone plate began to vibrate violently. Due to the passage of time, it was covered in a layer of rock. At this moment, the rock crumbled, revealing the stone plate. The stone plate was gray and looked like a primal chaos stone. There were some mysterious runes carved on it. At this moment, those runes lit up. Boom! Finally, the stone plate vibrated and flew up to hover above Lu Ming's head. At this moment, Lu Ming's mind buzzed. He seemed to see a majestic figure controlling the array plate and fighting against an enemy. The Primal Chaos Emperor. Lu Ming's heart shook. That figure was indeed the Primal Chaos Emperor. This stone plate really did look like the Primal Chaos Emperor's weapon. What a mysterious law of primal chaos. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to sense an extremely mysterious and ancient law of primal chaos from the stone plate. It was many times faster than what he comprehended. At this moment, Lu Ming's comprehension of the primal chaos laws seemed to have deepened. During this period of cultivation, his comprehension of the primal chaos law had already reached 95%. However, he now had a feeling that he was close to reaching 96%. Wang. The stone plate continued to vibrate, and the figure of the Primal Chaos Emperor disappeared. The stone plate began to shrink, and finally fell into Lu Ming's hand. Haha, looks like it's a success. Emperor Wuxiang smiled. Heavenly Fire Great Emperor and Chaotic Heaven Great Emperor also smiled. However, the three martial monarchs soon withdrew their smiles. Lu Ming, our original plan was to lead the army and launch an all-out attack to attract the other party's attention. After that, the great emperors would suddenly charge in and kill their way to the void passageway. Then, they would seal the void passageway with the chaos stone plate. However, you should know that even though the enemy's emperors can't enter, there are still quite a number of emperors here. Back then, 2 of them were killed by the heavenly emperor's body, so there are still 8 of them left. During this period of time, we killed another 1, so there are still 7 of them. Therefore, it's very dangerous for you to go. We won't force you to go. If you don't want to go, we'll think of another way. Emperor Wuxia said. That's right. Although we'll do our best to protect you, the enemy is an emperor. There's no guarantee that nothing will happen. Therefore, you have to make the decision yourself. Heavenly Fire Great Emperor said. This matter was too dangerous, so Lu Ming had to make the decision himself. I'll go. Lu Ming agreed without hesitation. A real man had some things to do, and some not to do. How could he refuse such a thing, because he was afraid of death? Emperor Wuxia and the others nodded in satisfaction when they saw Lu Ming's determined gaze. Lu Ming, don't worry. Even if we die, we'll protect you. Emperor Wuxia said. If you die, we die too. Emperor Hun Tian spoke for the first time, but his voice was firm and powerful. Lu Ming was very touched. As great emperors, they were high and mighty and powerful. In fact, they could force Lu Ming to do anything. If a few great emperors joined forces, Lu Ming could only obey. However, they didn't. Instead, they asked for Lu Ming's opinion. They promised that they would protect Lu Ming with their lives. As a great emperor, he could do this. Lu Ming was in awe of his character. Emperors, do we have other emperors? Lu Ming asked. Of course. Otherwise, how could the 3 of us be a match for the evil god tribe? Emperor Wuxia said. Lu Ming was enlightened. Indeed, how could the 3 of them be a match for the evil god tribe? Moreover, they had killed one of the evil god tribe's members. There were other emperors in the dark. I'll bring you to meet them now. Emperor Wuxia said. Then, he tore open space and brought Lu Ming back to the camp. Emperor Wuxia then sent a message. Soon, space rippled and a figure stepped in. This figure was covered in milky white light. It was divine light that was so dazzling that one couldn't open their eyes. The people of the heavenly god sect in the Tsang province also cultivated divine light. But compared to this, they were trash. Emperor. Lu Ming knew that this was an emperor. His aura wasn't any weaker than Emperor Wuxia and the others. Lu Ming. This is the sacred emperor of the ancient sacred tribe. Emperor Wuxia introduced. Greetings, sacred emperor. Lu Ming bowed. The chaos gem has awakened? The sacred emperor said coldly, like a high and mighty god. That's right. Emperor Wuxia nodded. The sacred emperor didn't say anything else. Then, space rippled and another person arrived. This person was an emperor of the primordial mountain ancient capital. He was like a peerless emperor. As soon as this emperor arrived, space rippled and another figure appeared. Uncle Kong. Lu Ming couldn't help but exclaim when he saw this figure. This figure was actually Uncle Kong. It seemed that Uncle Kong was indeed an emperor. Could it be that Uncle Kong had been secretly participating in the battle? Greetings, Senior Dan Kong. When Uncle Kong arrived, Emperor Wuxia and the others clasped their fists at him and addressed him as senior. Even the cold and arrogant Holy Emperor, who was like an emperor, bowed to Count Kong. It seemed that Uncle Kong's seniority was very high. Uncle Kong nodded. He looked very old. His turbid eyes looked at Lu Ming and said, I'll escort Lu Ming in. With Senior Dan Kong taking care of it, we'll naturally be at ease. Then, we'll delay the other emperors. Emperor Wuxia said, Seniors, why don't I see the Hung family and He family? Lu Ming wanted to ask about the Hung family, He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect. At this critical moment, those emperors were also nowhere to be seen. Don't mention those cowardly old foxes. When the battle starts, all of them hide and wait to reap the benefits. Chapter 2003. The 6 great emperors discussed for a while and decided to launch the attack tomorrow. On the second day, all the experts gathered and charged towards Celestial City. Kill. Sound waves soared into the sky as endless killing intent soared. Countless experts charged towards Celestial City. Those below the Martial Emperor level attacked from below. Those above the Martial Emperor level attacked directly from above. Boom! Boom! Terrifying loud sounds came from all around Celestial City. A great battle broke out. That area seemed to be on the verge of exploding. The sky was torn apart, as if it was the end of the world. Fortunately, Celestial City was built by the Celestial Emperor in the past. It was sturdy and immortal. Even such an intense battle couldn't destroy Celestial City. Lu Ming, Uncle Kong, and the others stood in the sky and watched from afar. Let's attack first, Emperor Wuxia said. Then, the 5 great emperors turned into 5 streaks of light and charged into Celestial City. Kill! In Celestial City, there were wild roars and terrifying rays of light that rushed towards Emperor Wuxia and the others. The battle between the great emperors broke out and reached the endless sky of Celestial City. The great emperors were too terrifying. If they fought below, the others would be affected and die in the aftermath of the battle between the great emperors. The battle became more and more intense. Even though they were far away, there were howling winds that swept over. Palace Master, let's go! Uncle Kong waved his hand, and a power enveloped Lu Ming. Then, he tore through the void and arrived inside Celestial City in the next moment. This was the original place of Celestial Emperor Mountain. Below there was a huge cave. Looking from afar, one could see a huge black vortex. Uncle Kong's figure dashed into the cave with a flicker. Roar! In the black vortex, there was a huge evil god tribe member. His body was incomparably huge. Compared to him, ordinary people were like ants. This huge evil god tribe member stretched out 2 palms and supported the 2 sides of the vortex. From time to time, there would be evil god tribe members rushing out from the vortex. At the edge of the vortex, there was a figure sitting cross-legged there. At this moment, that figure's gaze was like a divine sword as he looked at Uncle Kong and Lu Ming. You want to attack the void passage? Kill! This person shouted and erupted with a terrifying aura. If Lu Ming wasn't enveloped by Uncle Kong's power, he would most likely be shaken to death. This person was also a great emperor expert that was guarding the void passage. Uncle Kong murmured. At this moment, Uncle Kong's slouching figure became tall and straight. His murky eyes shone with a bright light, like 2 stars in the night sky. A terrifying sword chi soared into the sky, shaking the heavens and earth. Clang! A beam of sword light slashed apart the heaven domain, destroying the sky dome as it slashed towards the evil god race's great emperor. Boom! Their attacks collided, causing the underground cave to shake violently. Cracks started to appear in the void. Some of the evil god tribe members that had just charged out of the whirlpool were directly reduced to ashes by the shockwaves. Clang! Clang! The long sword in Uncle Kong's hand vibrated unceasingly, and the sword whistled unceasingly. In an instant, he had slashed out hundreds and thousands of swords. Each slash could kill a peak true emperor. The evil god emperor of the evil god race howled in rage as he erupted forth with all his might to fight against Uncle Kong. However, at this moment, the evil god emperor was being suppressed. Hall Master, now is the time! Uncle Kong transmitted a message to Lu Ming. Chaos Stone Plate. Lu Ming's heart moved, and the Chaos Stone Plate flew out. It rapidly expanded until it was the size of a planet. It was boundless. Suppress for me, Lu Ming roared. He controlled the Chaos Stone Plate to suppress the void passage. The Chaos Stone Plate emitted a resplendent radiance, wanting to seal the void passage. Want to seal the void passage? Don't even think about it. The evil god race's great emperor roared. He used all his strength to break through Uncle Kong's sword light and stop Lu Ming. Bang! Bang! Uncle Kong moved with a mysterious footwork. With each step, his body would emit a bright light. As he moved forward, the light on his body became brighter and brighter. At the same time, Uncle Kong's sword aura became stronger and stronger. He had already gained the upper hand, suppressing the evil god race's great emperor. Pooh! Blood splattered everywhere. A deep wound appeared on the evil god race's great emperor's body, causing him to roar madly. At this moment, in the battlefield of the great emperors, the evil god race's great emperors naturally saw what was happening in the void passage. Damn it! They want to seal the void passage. Stop them. The demonic spirit religion leader roared. At this moment, he was fighting against Emperor Wuxia. Emperor Wuxia was formless and formless. He transformed into thousands of shadows and surrounded the demonic spirit religion leader. The other great emperors were also holding their opponents back. The most terrifying one was Emperor Hun Tian. His combat strength was terrifying, and he had the ability to shake the heavens and earth. He alone was holding back two great emperors. Suppress! Lu Ming roared. The Chaos Stone Plate continued to suppress the void passage. Roar! That huge evil god race's great emperor pressed on the edge of the void passage with one hand and dragged the Chaos Stone Plate with the other. For a moment, the Chaos Stone Plate was actually blocked and could not suppress it. Lu Ming's cultivation was ultimately too weak. That huge evil god race's great emperor cultivation was at least at the true emperor level. It was normal for it to be able to block it. Slash! At this moment, Uncle Kong shouted coldly. A sword light slashed down from the head of the huge evil god race's great emperor, splitting his head into two. The huge evil god race's great emperor roared and fell down powerlessly. His body disappeared into the vortex. Boom! Without any resistance, the Chaos Stone Plate pressed down and blocked the void passage. Rumble! The Chaos Stone Plate vibrated. It was about to completely embed itself into the void and become one with it to seal the void passage. Boom! Boom! The Chaos Stone Plate vibrated continuously. It seemed like the other side of the Chaos Stone Plate was suffering from a terrifying attack. Shwa! In the next moment, Uncle Kong landed on the Chaos Stone Plate with Lu Ming. Endless energy surged from Uncle Kong's body into the Chaos Stone Plate, helping Lu Ming to suppress the stone plate. Don't even think about it. Kill! Kill! The evil god race's great emperor attacked Uncle Kong crazily. High in the sky, the evil god race's great emperor also went crazy and started to fight with his life. With this, Emperor Wuxia and the others could no longer stop him. Shwa! Shwa! Several figures rushed into the cave in succession. Kill! Kill! Several evil god race's great emperors attacked Uncle Kong and Lu Ming together like a storm. Uncle Kong had to suppress the Chaos Stone Plate and diverted a portion of his energy. His battle strength was naturally insufficient. The long sword in his hand emitted endless sword light. Although he managed to block the attacks of several great emperors, he staggered and blood flowed out of his mouth. Uncle Kong! Lu Ming was extremely worried. Fortunately, Emperor Wuxia and the others arrived at the next moment. Following which, the other great emperors also rushed in. A chaotic battle broke out in this place. However, this space was extremely mysterious. It was big enough. Back then the Lotus World was here. There were 9 worlds. From this, one could see how big this space was. Many great emperors were in a chaotic battle. Uncle Kong's energy surged continuously into the Chaos Stone Plate. Chapter 2004. Rumble. The Chaos Stone Plate continued to vibrate as it continued to suppress the void passage. After the last loud rumble, the entire Chaos Stone Plate was completely embedded in the void passage, as if it had merged with the space. The void passage was completely sealed. Damn it, all of you must die. The demon religion hierarch roared crazily as he attacked Emperor Wuxia with his terrifying power. The other great emperors of the evil god race also unleashed terrifying attacks. Their attacks were frenzied, as though they had all gone mad. With the void passage sealed, it was equivalent to cutting off their source of troops. Only the evil god tribe and celestial city was left, and they would be wiped out sooner or later. You are doomed. You are doomed to fail. Emperor Wuxia said coldly. Fail? What a joke. So what if you sealed the passage? Other than you great emperors, who else can stop us? We will kill everyone below the great emperor realm, especially such geniuses. The demon religion hierarch's voice was incomparably cold and filled with terrifying killing intent. As he spoke, his cold gaze swept towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming felt a chill in his heart. Indeed, the other party still had 7 great emperors. This was a disaster. If the other party hid and deliberately avoided the great emperors of Yuan Mountain, to hunt those below the Great Emperor realm. No one would be able to stop them. They would all die. And the great emperors of Yuan Mountain couldn't stay together every day. If they were separated, they would be attacked separately. Even the great emperors would die. If the 7 great emperors attacked without hesitation, it would be too dangerous. You have no chance. The Chaos Heaven Great Emperor, who had been silent all this time, spoke at this time. Then, he opened his palm, and a door of light appeared in his palm. As soon as this door of light appeared, it instantly enlarged and turned into a giant door that was 10,000 feet tall. A terrifying suction force erupted from the door of light. Come in. The Chaos Heaven Great Emperor spoke as the power in his body surged into the door of light. The door of light erupted with an even stronger force that enveloped the 7 great emperors of the evil god tribe, wanting to swallow them into the door of light. Damn it, it's the gate of world viewing. They want to take us to the heavenly world. Let's go. The great emperors of the evil god tribe roared as they tried their best to rush out. Stay. At this moment, Emperor Wuxia, the Holy Emperor, the Emperor-like Emperor, Uncle Kong, and the others unleashed their full strength to tie down their opponents. Lu Ming was enveloped by Uncle Kong's power and stood behind him. He could not intervene in such a great battle at all. Damn it. The Celestial Emperor's body is only a bit away from 10%. I can't control it at all. Lu Ming's heart was filled with hatred. He wished he could help. Wang. The door of light trembled, and the suction force grew stronger and stronger, wanting to draw the 7 evil god tribe great emperors in. However, the evil god tribe great emperors resisted with all their might, unable to move the door at all. At this moment, the heavenly fire monarch also arrived at the door of light. A terrifying power surged into the door of light, making the door of light even more attractive. However, he was still lacking a little. The 7 immortal emperors of the evil god race attacked crazily. Their attacks were simply too terrifying. There were only 4 people in Uncle Kong's group, and they were trying their best to stop them. However, the situation was very critical. Bang! Emperor Wuxia was struck. His body trembled violently as blood flowed out of his mouth. However, he still refused to back down. At the same time, the Holy Emperor was also heavily injured. Heavenly Flame, let's begin. The Chaos Heaven Emperor looked at the Heavenly Fire Monarch. All right, the Heavenly Fire Monarch nodded. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying aura erupted from the Heavenly Fire Monarch and the Chaos Heaven Emperor. Their bodies seemed to be burning, as if they were 2 men on fire. The attractive force of the world viewing gate suddenly increased by several times. The 7 people of the evil god tribe were attracted by the terrifying force and slowly moved toward the world viewing gate. The world viewing gate led to the heaven domain. If one was attracted by it, they would directly enter the heaven domain. Without finding the correct void passage, they would not be able to return. This way, the crisis of the Yuan Mountain could be resolved. You guys are crazy. How dare you burn yourselves? The demonic spirit church leader roared and charged forward with all his might. The other evil god tribe great emperors erupted with all their strength. All kinds of shocking power blasted toward Uncle Kong and the others. The power of the world viewing gate was useless against Uncle Kong and the others. Go in. Uncle Kong and the others blocked, not allowing them to charge out. For against 7, they were at an absolute disadvantage. At this moment, not only Emperor Wuxia, the Holy Emperor, the Emperor-like Great Emperor, and Uncle Kong were all injured. However, they did not care about their injuries and blocked the entrance like a divine wall. Come in. The Chaos Heaven Emperor and the Heavenly Fire Monarch shouted. Their bodies seemed to become transparent and were about to merge with the world viewing gate. The attractive force was getting stronger and stronger. No, I'm not willing. Finally, one of the evil god tribe great emperors could not resist and was pulled into the world viewing gate, disappearing. The other evil god tribe great emperors were shocked. They roared and fought with all their might. However, the Chaos Heaven Emperor and the Heavenly Fire Monarch were about to merge with the world viewing gate. The power of the world viewing gate was even stronger, causing the evil god tribe great emperors to be greatly affected. Great emperors! Lu Ming's heart trembled, and he felt a lump in his throat. The Chaos Heaven Emperor and the Heavenly Fire Monarch were clearly fighting with all their might. They did not care about their own safety and wanted to send the other party into the Heaven Domain to ensure the safety of the Yuan Mountain. Most of the Heaven Domain had been occupied by the Evil God tribe. There were countless Evil God tribe experts gathered there, including a few great emperors. Get in! Emperor Wuxia, Uncle Kong, and the others attacked continuously, wanting to force the other party into the World Viewing Gate. Shua. Finally, another person was pulled into the World Viewing Gate. Every time someone was pulled in, the pressure on Uncle Kong and the others would lessen, and the other party's strength to resist would also decrease. No matter how unwilling the other party was, they could not change the situation. One by one, they were pulled into the World Viewing Gate and disappeared. A moment later, all the Evil God tribe great emperors were pulled into the World Viewing Gate. At this moment, the Heavenly Fire Monarch and the Chaos Heaven Emperor's figures were almost transparent. Everyone, I'll leave the Yuan Mountain to you in the future. The Heavenly Fire Monarch cupped his fists. The two of you take care. The Sacred Emperor, Uncle Kong, and the others also cupped their fists, a trace of sadness and helplessness on their faces. Lu Ming stepped forward, cupped his fists, and bowed to the two great emperors. At this moment, he only had respect for the two great emperors. Lu Ming, with your talent, it won't be a problem for you to surpass us old fellows in the future. I look forward to your growth. The Heavenly Fire Monarch said with a smile. The Chaos Heaven Emperor nodded and did not say anything. Shua. At this moment, the World Viewing Gate flashed and suddenly disappeared. The Heavenly Fire Monarch and the Chaos Heaven Emperor also disappeared. Lu Ming's heart trembled. The two great emperors disappeared just like that. Could it be that they had died? It was obvious that everything that had happened today had been planned by the great emperors. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.